everybody? It's Pastor Jay, and I got a question for you guys really quickly. Number one, I owe YouTube a long one. I haven't done one in quite a while. But my question today is, I asked this on TikTok, when is it finally your turn? And what I mean by that is, stick around for a little bit. You guys are kind of get what I feel like is kind of like the main issue that happens to people over the course of time, and then they start to question, why is this happening to me? Why me? Why everybody else and not me? That's my question for you today. Why not you? Why is it not you? Does that have something to do with you? Is it have something to do with just predestination, just what life was going to hand out to you? Is it just bad luck? Like, what is it? So we talked about love and friendship on the last one, and I want to start there with 1 John 4, 7, and 8, because we talked about it last time. Let's talk about it again. 1 John chapter 4, verse 7 and 8. And if you guys like these short versions, hop on over to TikTok. This is for those who kind of want to stick around, and let's walk through it together. So 1 John 4, 7 and 8 says, "Beloved, let us love one another." So let's slow down, okay? Beloved, let's all love each other. Let's do this thing. Let's love one another where we're supposed to. For love is of God, which means that this love that we're talking about comes from God. And everyone that loves is born of God, and they know God. So the people that know how to love, right, they are born of God. They come from God, and they know who God is. Why? Because in verse 8 it says, "He that loves not does not know God, because God is love." So let's break this whole thing down. Let's love one another because love comes from God. And everyone that loves is born of God, and they know God. But the people that love not, they don't know God. Why do we not know God? Because God is love. As simple as I can put it. So while everybody's trying to break down what God is, who God is, where God is, why God does blah, 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 the Bible simply says God is love. Let's make it real simple. Okay? So I want to make that first thing for that clear, first and foremost, that God is love. Now the question that I asked at the beginning is it just destiny? Is it just fate? Is it just crap going to crap? Is it just luck that some people get successful and some people don't? Like, what? I'm a good person, right? You've heard me say, I'm a good person. I'm giving to people. I'm caring. I'm loving. I do this for others and blah, 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 blah. And I am a firm believer that the church has done us a disservice. I feel as though the church has taught you to give up yourself in such a way that there's nothing left for you to pull from. You've essentially planted a tree, giving all of the fruit away, and then going to the tree to go pick the fruit for yourself and for your own family, and now you can't because you have decided to help everybody else above helping yourself. And not even a farmer is that dense, right? A farmer understands, yeah, I could use some of what I have to make more money, but they're never going to give away all of it because then their family won't have anything to eat. They won't have anything to eat themselves. They need to feed their own livestock. They have to take care of their own household, because if they don't and they give it all to you, they're now out of business. Not only are they out of business, they're out of a home. Not only are they out of home, they're out of food, they're out of drink. They have nothing. So my question to you, again, is when is it your turn? And my answer to you is that it is your turn when you finally decide that it is your turn. It is your turn when you finally decide that it's okay for me not to give everything to others and to make sure that I have enough to sustain myself. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Let's go back to the Bible. Matthew chapter 7, verses 3 through 5. We usually use this for a bad thing, but I'm going to turn this around, as the Bible says. I'm going to turn this around for our good real quick. Matthew 7, 3 through 5. Verse 3 in Matthew 7 says, "And why beholdest thou," this is some Shakespearean writing, so I'm going to rephrase this into modern day English as we go. "And why beholdest thou the mote that is in thy brother's eye, but considerest not the beam that is in thine own eye?" There's a question. Why are you worried about what's going on with your brother, but you're not even worried about what's going on with you? Verse 4, "Or how wilt thou say to thy brother, let me pull out the mote out of your eye, and behold, there's a beam in my eye," right? "In thine own eye." What does that mean? How can you say to somebody else, let me pull out this thing that you got going on, let me help you out in what you got going on, but I have a bigger problem and I'm not even considering to fix my problem before I fix yours? Verse 5. The first two words of this verse says, "You hypocrite. First cast out the beam out of your own eye, then you could be able to see clearly to cast the mote out of your brother's eye." What does that mean? It means deal with your circumstances first so that you have enough energy, power, resources, mental stability to now go out there and help someone else. But how often do you find yourself going out of your way, killing yourself to try to fix someone else's situation that they caused? And then you look at your situation and realize, but I haven't changed mine at all. I've given everything that I can to help others, but I have done nothing to help myself. So is it luck that is happening for everyone else, or is it simply a fact of mismanagement of how you manage yourself in your life? Let's go to the next verse. We're going to stay in the book of Matthew chapter 22. We're going to go 36 through 40. I want you to roll with me with this because this is the most important part. Matthew 22 verse 36 says, Master, which is the greatest commandment in the law, right? Which is the greatest commandment in the whole law? These disciples are talking to Jesus. In verse 37, Jesus said unto them, that thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, with all thy soul, and with all thy mind. Okay? First commandment Jesus gave them. The first commandment. He said, love the Lord your God with what? All your heart, all your soul, all your mind. Verse 38 says, this is the first and the greatest commandment. Okay? Let's put everything else to bed, all the 10 commandments, put all those to bed. The first greatest commandment, love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, all your mind. Verse 39, he said, and the second one is like unto it. What does that mean? It means that the second commandment I'm about to give you is similar or just like the first. Just like the first. What does it say? That thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. Okay? Verse 40 then sums it all up and says, on these two commandments, on these two, hang all the law and the prophets. It means every single law in the Bible, every single prophet that has ever spoken, all have to hang on these two commandments. What are those two commandments? Love the Lord your God with all your heart, your soul, your mind. And the second one, love your neighbor as yourself. If those two things are off, the whole law is off. If those two things are off, every prophet that's ever spoken is off. Everything hangs on these two commandments. I didn't say that. That's in there. Okay? Everything hangs on these two commandments. Loving God first, and then loving your neighbor as yourself. Why is these two things that important? I'm about to help you out right now. In the Greek, the key word we want to look at is the word as. Okay? And the reason we want to look at that as a key word is because in Matthew 22, verse 37, the first commandment has a caveat. Right? Has a caveat. Caveat means that this has to happen before this can happen. A prerequisite. Okay? Jesus said to him, thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, all thy mind, and all thy soul. Okay? Stay right there. No caveat to that one. Right? No prerequisite. This is what you got to do. No caveat, no prerequisite. Just do this. Okay? The second one is just like the first one, which means it has to be done in the same similitude as the first. But there's a caveat. Right? It says, love thy neighbor. Where's the caveat? Where's the prerequisite? As is the prerequisite, which means you cannot love your neighbor until you understand the as. Okay? Love your neighbor as thyself. So you got to understand the as, because the as is the prerequisite, is the caveat to how you should love your neighbor. The word as in the Greek comes from the Greek 56:13. It's the word host. Okay? It's the word host. And I'm going to give you the actual definition, so I don't even want to paraphrase it. It literally says, in that manner is what as means. In that manner, or in the way that is the way what host or as means. So let's go back to that verse. The second one should be done just like the first, that thou shalt love thy neighbor as, which means in the same manner or in like manner, in the way that you love yourself. And the rest of the commandments, on the rest of the law and all the prophets hang on these two. So why is everything going wrong? It's because your as is wrong. I said as. Okay? Just for somebody trying to be funny. Say as. A-S. Okay? Your as is wrong. I might preach this. That sounded like a good message. I might preach this down the road. But you're trying to love somebody in a manner that you don't even love you. What does that look like? It means that you go out of your way to try to get and help somebody in a manner that you haven't even helped yourself yet. And when you have exhausted all of that manner, you find yourself trying to find some other way to help them. You know what? Well, I might be out of food, but I'm not out of gas, so I can give them a ride to work every day. They're not giving you no gas money. You don't even do this for you. You put gas in your own car, right? You treat yourself well, and then you don't expect someone else to treat you with the same fashion, the same manner, the same as. That doesn't make sense. And so you're killing yourself going out of your way, wondering, well, I do this to people. Why aren't they doing it back for me? Well, look at the way you're treating yourself. Right? You're willing to overextend and overexert yourself and not even have any self-control, self-restraint And so you're giving people rides and on a gas tank that's not even full. You are loaning out money that you don't even have. And then what happens to you? You end up now going from the lender to becoming the borrower. And now you're pulling on somebody else's love, hoping that they love you enough to restore you because you've given out all of yours to somebody else. But other people who love themselves the way God says to love themselves are not going to give you anything to sustain you like you did for them. And now you're wondering, why, God, am I doing all of this and no one's giving anything back to me? Well, because the second commandment says you gotta give it to yourself first. You have to. You can't loan $100 if your account is at 92. But some of you still do it. And now you're -8 overdraft. Now you have a $35 fee on top of it. And the person you loan money to is laughing at you, talking about some, look, I don't have it yet. You got to hold on for a second, sis. Hold on for a second, bro. I'm trying to tell y'all something right now. That the way to get ahead is on these 2 commandments. Because if you love God first, God then is going to put you first. And your job then is to obey God and put yourself first. And then your next step is to then assist someone else. But you cannot help me if we're both hanging off the same mountainside about to die. First, tie the rope around yourself, make sure you are safe and secure, then reach out your hand to help me. Because if you're not secure when you try to help me, I'm going to pull both of us down, we both die. Ladies and gentlemen, maybe you understand something. There are some people in your life right now that are nothing more than bona fide leeches, bona fide mosquitoes. What does that mean? A mosquito will bite you, suck all the blood out of you, and then when they get their full off of you, will fly to the next person and suck all the blood from them too. Why does the mosquito do that? Because the mosquito doesn't care about you. Doesn't care. There are some people in your life that you think care about you, but they do not care about you. You are simply put a benefit. And if you do not benefit yourself first, they will eventually use up all of your benefits and you will have nothing left. You'll become a shell of yourself asking God, why is this happening to you? Because you have disobeyed one of the greatest commandments, the second commandment in all the Bible, one of the greatest commandments, which is to love your neighbor. That's cool, but in the manner that you have loved yourself, because everything else hangs on these 2. Ladies and gentlemen, hopefully that helped y'all today. Hopefully you guys learned something. Hopefully you apply it. Hopefully you realize that it's okay to help somebody. But you cannot remove something from their eye until you remove what's in yours. That's just what it is. Hopefully you guys do me a favor. Leave me a comment down below if this helped you. Leave me a comment down below if you got a question. Hit that subscribe button. Like, y'all, there's some people that come through here and they don't hit the subscribe button. Like, just click the button. Click the button. Click the button. I will click the button for you if you click the button for me, right? Hit that like, and if you can, hop on over to the TikTok, right? If you like the shorter versions, hop on over to there. But I would love to hear y'all questions. I would love to hear y'all comments. And let me know how you feel about this topic. All that being said and done, I'm Pastor Jay. Love y'all. Y'all have a great day.